Hello, everybody. I'm Clifford Nathaniel. I'll be doing this section for you for the LIFT program for your wellness credits. I'm a clinic manager for Pathways in the Dyersburg office. I've been actually working with the Academy and now the LIFT program for about 15 years now. So our topic today that we're going to look at is nobody cares. You're not that important, and I'll begin tomorrow. The reason for this presentation is to get you to look at how your perception about yourself, your overall mental thoughts and your mood has a lot to do with health issues. You actually develop these thoughts and you actually develop these ways of feeling and believing that you're not important, that nobody cares. And then maybe you're thinking, maybe tomorrow is the day I should start. And you can see the connection between eating habits or selecting poor food. So let's get started. When you look at understanding the development of nobody cares, the developing of feeling that you're not important, you kind of have to look at these paradigms that I developed for you to look at. You can see the eyeglass that has a lot to do to focus on your childhood history, focus on the ways of your family or the function of your family, which actually cause children, adolescents to become adults, to develop schemas. Schemas is basically belief systems, things that you believe about yourself, has a lot to do with your childhood, has a lot to do with your family dynamics. Sometimes feeling no one cares has a lot to do to look at the nurture versus the nature. Was my parents or my caregivers, did they fail to nurture me? What's the environment, which is nature? Did it has a lot to do with me feeling different, me feeling that I didn't fit in, that I didn't belong? You can also look at the peers that you associated with when you was younger. Has a lot to do with the school system, has a lot to do with developing of your belief about yourself through church, through television. You can look at all these different departments, I call them. All these different departments has a lot to do with the developing of yourself. The self is who you are. The self is how you see yourself. The self is your self-image, your self-concepts, develop your belief system. And you can see the model is that from your childhood, you can see the arrow that goes up into your thoughts based about how you see yourself. Your thoughts about trigger your feelings. Your thoughts about certain behavior that you choose. Now, these different departments in the circle, your thoughts, feelings, and behavior, has a lot to do with the different departments of your thought processes, because the brain is set up in 3 departments. You generate thoughts of not caring, you generate feelings that are not important, and then you actually show certain behaviors that are indicators that you don't care or you feel others don't care. You can see the paradigm shifts to these 4 emotions. You have an emotion of sad, we call it sadness. You have an emotion of anger, I call it angering. You have emotions of fear, I call it fearing. And then you have emotion of guilt. Guilt represents the poor man. The guilt represents the victim stance. All of these models are shifted together to help you to look at, why am I developing this nobody care way of looking at things? If you look through the eyes of not caring, it has a lot to do with relationships. And this is you in the middle. Think about your health in the middle. Think about your lifestyle. Think about your daily habits of eating. You can look at, am I okay? Am I not okay? Okay, am I aggressive? Am I assertive? Am I passive aggressive? Am I just passive? But if you look at the key to understanding learning, the key to understanding change, you have to look at you in the middle, and you have to listen to the thoughts in your mind. You have to pay attention to your emotion. Are they signaling that I'm okay or that I'm not okay? And we can get a little deeper to look at it. You can see the model that I'm okay, you're okay. I'm okay, you're not okay. And then if you go down, I'm okay, you're not okay. I'm okay, you're okay. But we're trying to focus on the healthy part, is that if I'm okay, I can get away from positions, I can get away from ways of thinking and seeing things, and I can get away from feeling helpless. And we're going to stay in the green part of this paradigm. You can say that I'm okay, you're okay. And this is a healthy position. This is a way to get on with a healthy and happy life, and actually for us creating a good lifestyle of wellness. So what is wellness when we're looking at feeling I'm okay? What is wellness when you're looking at feeling I'm not okay? I'm taking this quote from Scott Peck. He's a psychiatrist, from the book of The Road Less Traveled. When you think about life, life is difficult, which is a great truth. One of the greatest truths. It is a great truth because once we truly see this truth, we transcend it. Once we truly know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept it, then life is no longer difficult. Because once it is accepted, the fact that life is difficult no longer matters. Just process it for a minute, that life is difficult. Okay, that life is not difficult. But once you accept it, and you can look at different ways of choosing, which from the poem of Robert Frost, different ways of choosing the way that you take care of yourself, choosing the way that you start loving yourself, has a lot to do with overall health and wellness. I call this the power of ABCs. You can look at your brain based on your thinking, your self-talk, your automatic thoughts. You give yourself a lot of shoulds. I should be important. I must be loved. You give yourself a lot of oughts. Things ought to go different. I must be treated fair. I can't be happy unless things are my way. You can see the area of interactions on how all of these thought processes causes health issues when you feel nobody cares. You can see all of the stressing that's going on in the mind when you have these beliefs that I'm not important. You can see how the angering is part of health conditions, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, when you feel that nobody cares or will tomorrow be my day. Do you see how the belief that I'm not important has a lot to do with states of depression? You can see how all of these ways of thinking, you can see the area of circle, which is causation. Things is causing this, thoughts is causing it. It's causing an unhealthy eating, an unhealthy lifestyle. If you look at the POW of ABCs, which is your power of your world, the way that you see things, your beliefs about things. So let's look at some mental and emotional barriers that's holding you back. Think about that. When I'm feeling that I'm not important, what's holding me back? When I'm feeling that no one cares, what's blocking me and holding me back? When I really think about it, what's really holding me back? And you know what the answer is. You know what the answer is. What's holding me back is really me. Fear of failure has a lot to do with holding you back. A fear of success has a lot to do with feeling that I'm not important. The fear of rejection has a lot to do with should I begin tomorrow? A lack of belief in yourself has a lot to do with why they don't care. So, but what's really holding you back though? What's really holding you back? When you're feeling that no one cares, your life is tied up in knots, it's tied up in balls. All of these beliefs now is triggered from your thoughts that's holding you back. That's triggered from ways of feeling that's keeping you emotionally stuck. And all these behavior patterns are actually unhealthy behavior patterns. You can see the diagram at the bottom. When you're tied up in all these knots, when you're feeling no one cares, it has a lot to do with this fear of failure. What if I fail? Then others won't like me. Am I good enough to do these things? Why do I fear success? Why do I fear rejection if I actually tell others what I want? Well, the lack of belief. You can see the connection between unhealthy lifestyle. You can see the connection between eating unhealthy food, which is becoming an emotional eater to fulfill those needs. So let's think about this process I call awakening. Awakening to your life purpose. Let's think about what your mind is processing. Okay, if it is to be, think about it. It's up to me. Think about the idea that I will. Think about the idea that I can. Look at all these different options that you have when you're focusing on looking at what's really important. You know, what am I running from when my health is not good? What makes me smile when I'm feeling good about myself? Okay, what's holding me back? Okay, think about what's important. Okay, my health is important, which is number one. Okay, you have a voice to start being assertive, letting others know that I am important, let others know that I want you to care. You have an option to decide, what am I going to do about family? You have an option to decide on what's wrong with feeling good. So then if you think about awakening to your life purpose, awakening to what makes you happy, awakening to giving you that self-concept. So what are your goals? What are your goals for wellness? What are your goals for the health wellness program through the hospital? Okay, what are some options you can take from this presentation to actually start eating better, actually start improving your health. Okay, you have to have other alternatives when you're really looking at if it is to be, it's up to me. See, because the overall goal of wellness, the overall goal of taking care of yourself, the overall goal to start believing in yourself is actually to be a success, which you can break this down in what are your goals. So we look at the dimensions of wellness, the important areas of health. The question is, I care or I don't care. Wellness is all about emotional wellness. Wellness is all about social relationships. Wellness is about occupational. It's about taking care of your physical. Wellness, it has a component of your intellectual, which is your abilities to think clearly, to make healthy choices. Wellness has a lot to do with the environment. Good health by actually pleasant things that are going on in the environment. Wellness has a lot to do with managing finances. Wellness has a lot to do with a higher source. Whatever your higher source is, you can look at all these different parts of human functioning, and this is you in the middle, and you have to look at, I'm responsible for all of these areas of my life. And you can actually call this you incorporation, meaning you are responsible for you. Dr. Dennis Whaley is a motivational speaker. He focused a lot on your attitude. He believes that the key to taking care of yourself, the key to actually being healthy, the key to actually feeling healthy, the key to actually saying that I am okay is caring about me. I like this poem. He said, I know I'm a winner when I'm around you. You bring out the best in everything that I do. It said, you allow me to be the best that I can be, bringing out everything and allowing me to be me. See, I know that I'm a winner when you allow me to see. For when I'm with you, you bring out the best in me. Think about what he's saying. I know that I'm a winner. I mean, you have to have a positive attitude. I know that I can do it. You have to believe that you can't do it. This is a great poem. I recommend to buy the book, The Psychology of Winning. It deals with overall health. It deals with overall functioning. Let's look at taking charge. Let's look at teaching others. Let's look at taking care of yourself. Because you have to think about it, that you do matter. You have to show others that you do matter. Dr. Phil called it self-matter. You have to start taking care of yourself. You either get it or you don't. If you don't start caring, why would others care? You have to really consider that you create your own experiences. Meaning if you're making unhealthy choices, if you're choosing not to take care of yourself, then you either get it or you don't. You're creating these experiences. You have to look at rewards. If you're taking care of yourself, if you're doing well at work, family, if you're doing well in social relationship, you have to remember that life rewards your action. So the reward of your actions, if you taking care of you, you thinking that I am important. You have to think about the end. Begin with the end in mind. What is he saying? Begin with the end in mind. The end is, how do you want to be after you go through your classes with your coach through the wellness program? How do you want to be when you actually receive assistance and training through the Lift Center? What do you think about Think Win-Win? Think Win-Win is how can my Lift coach win and I win? How can I listen to them and learn things and win? How can we both think win-win or create a win-win plan? I like number 6. If you care about you, if you believe that you are important, you have to name it before you claim it. You have to actually say, I am important. My health is important. I will take care of myself. It's something that you can choose because you have to name it before you claim it. Number 7, say, if you don't care about yourself, if you keep saying this to yourself, think about nothing change if I stay the same. So if you're working with your wellness coach, and your numbers are staying the same, or you're not losing weight, or you're not feeling better, what are you changing? Okay, what are you choosing to change? I'm suggesting to change your behavior. I'm suggesting to change your thought process. I'm suggesting to change your daily eating habits. I'm suggesting to change eating fruits and drinking more water, parking your car out and walking towards your job. It's just some suggestions. And think about same way, just a different day. Meaning you do things the same way, but in your mind it's different day. Because remember, the topic is, I'm not important. So you do it the same way. Nobody cares, you do it the same way. So I'm suggesting is that, will I start tomorrow? Or will I do it the same way? So I'm suggesting this is a different day, set you some goals for a different day, and allow those goals to actually help you to start working your program with the Wellness Center. We all know the power in just letting things go. We all know the power in saying the past is the past. If you develop this belief that I'm not important, if you develop this belief that nobody cares, if you develop this belief that maybe I'll start tomorrow, a lot of it has a lot to do with what I call emotional kidnap. Something that has kidnapped you emotionally, just tied into part of your child development. And maybe if you just let those things go, or maybe you just say, I just need to accept it and let it go. That has a lot to do with the power of just say, I forgive whatever it was. If you don't know, just let it go. Number 10 is choose not to put up with resistance. If others are treating you in a way that you don't like, if others are continue to try to make you feel that you're not important, and others are choosing to be closed-minded and they won't listen, then what do you think about just say, I can choose to take care of me. I can choose to let this go. I can choose not to put up with this behavior. We're moving toward the end here. Stephen Covey has an awesome book here, Living the 7 Habits. He talks about the courage to take care of yourself. He talks about the courage to start caring about yourself. So you actually have to be proactive. You actually have to say, this is what I'm doing now. And then you actually have to start planning in advance, actually with your program that you're working with the Lift Center. You actually have to think about beginning with the end in mind. You have to learn to seek to understand before being understood. It's a great book that I'm recommending. You have to put first things first, and first thing first is putting me first or putting you first. Start taking care of you, start caring about you. You have to look at the power in communication. Sometimes when you don't care about yourself, you lose your voice, you feel you're not important. Sometimes you keep things in, and I call it a stuffer, and then you start having digestive problems, stomach problems, ulcers, because you choose not to communicate. So look at the power of communication. Look at letting go of the past. Because we're living here in the present. Today is October the 4th, and this is to here, and this is to now. And there's no benefits in the past. You can learn from the past. And you don't have to continue to recreate it in the present. Guard your mind. What does guard your mind mean? Think about what are you telling yourself when you feel you don't care. Think about what you're allowing others to say when you're feeling like you're not important. Think about what are you doing when you decided maybe I'll start my life tomorrow. So if you're guarding your mind, I'm recommending to think positive. I mean, have great positive thoughts, realistic thoughts that are based on facts and truth. Because remember that I can do all things if you start believing. I can do all things if you start taking care of yourself. We're moving toward closure here. So when choosing the life, when you're living the life that you were intended to live, I'm going to give you 6 ideas for closure. I want you to look at delay gratification and start taking care of yourself. I want you to think about taking responsibility for your life when you start taking care of yourself. I want you to consider to update your mind, update reality, update your perception, meaning look at, am I thinking based on what's happening in the present? Am I actually making decisions from old, outdated data, which is generated from your history? What do you think about the ideal of living and choosing the art of balance in your life? Balance is basically looking at all the areas of wellness now, which you have to figure out, how can I take care of all these different parts of wellness in which is taking care of myself. And then you can see how you start strengthening yourself. You can see how you start taking care of yourself. Because you know we call this you incorporation. Meaning everywhere you go, you take you with you. Everywhere you go, you're responsible for you. Everywhere you go, you have to start making health decisions for you because you have your own incorporation, which is your health, which is part of your diet, which is part of your life, and which is part of needs. So my life plan for you, I call it Writing the 7 C's. Comes from Dr. Whaley, C's of Greatness, the potentials within. If you think about this movie, the main idea from this movie, you have to learn to live and take care of yourself. You have to learn to accept your current situation, your current state of doing. What are you doing? And look at these 7 things that you control. You control the clock. You control your concepts. You control your contacts. You control your causes. You control your commitments. And you control your communication. And you also control your concerns. So if you look at what do you do on the clock, sun up and sun down, what are you doing on the clock all week long? What are you choosing to do on the clock? Are you taking care of you on the clock? See, because time is something that's given free, and I'm suggesting for you to start doing time management, doing a time audit, to look exact what am I doing with my time? See, because you control your concepts. What are your concepts? Your concepts are your thoughts. Your concepts are your beliefs. Your concepts are your images. Your concepts are things that you believe that you can do. Because we create concepts that's tied into all our language. And what are you doing with your time when you're sitting around thinking? What are you thinking and what are you thinking about? See, because you control your contacts. What do I mean by contacts? Okay, flip your phone out. Okay, look through your personal contacts. Are the individuals that you choose to contact or choose to call or choose to talk, are these individuals living a healthy lifestyle? Are these individuals living with the I don't care or I'm not important or nobody care attitude? See, because if you hang around individuals with that type of thoughts and that type of energy, then sometimes your contacts has a lot to do with you developing concepts that you write, and then you actually spend more time with these individuals, and you all are doing the same thing. See, have you see what's causing it now? Do you see what's causing you not to care? Do you see what's causing you to feel that you're not important? See, what's causing it? Contacts is causing it. What's causing it? My concepts, things I'm thinking or saying and believe. What's causing it? I see it, what I'm doing with my time. So you could call, you control your commitments. And what are my commitments? Wellness. What are my commitments? It's been on time to meet my wellness coach. What are my commitments to stick to the plan that we agreed together? What are my commitments to do a great job with West Tennessee Healthcare? What are my commitments to be a positive role model? What are you committed to? Your commitment has a lot to do with what's causing. Your commitment has a lot to do with individuals who are part of your contacts, your concepts, and your commitment is what you spend most of your life doing with your time. See, we all know you control your communication. Sometimes when you're feeling nobody care, see, nobody care is a state of energy, and you actually communicate, I'm not important. You actually communicate that maybe I take care of myself tomorrow. You actually communicate that I don't need to take care of myself. Nobody cares. So you can see your communication. So what are your concerns? What concerns me? Are you going to commit to your wellness plan? What concerns me? Are you going to start saying that I am important? What concerns me? Are you going to continue to believe that I can't do it? Okay, what concerns me? Are you going to start continue to eat unhealthy? And if you're going to start taking care of yourself, make sure you see what you do with your time. Make sure you focus on your thought processes or your concepts. Make sure that you have healthy contacts, because healthy contacts gives you actually encouragement. It actually gives you more determination because we're doing it together. And make sure you see what's causing your health to be the way it is. Make sure you see that I know what my commitments are. Listen to your communication. Listen to, okay, what are my concerns? So in closure, I want you to remember, in order to take care of me, in order to say that I am okay, in order to see that I can and I will, I want you to write this quote down Take it with you every day, everywhere you go. Put it on your refrigerator, put it in your car, put it in your bathroom, put it in all these different places, computer. And whenever you see this quote, it will remind you that you are okay. It will remind you that I can. Because if it is to be, think about that. It's up to me. If it is to be, I have to take charge of me. If it is to be, I have to choose to eat right. If it is to be, I have to schedule time to go to the wellness. If it is to be, I have to work with my coach. Because if nothing changed, things stay the same. Thank you for your time. Enjoy this presentation. Take this presentation and apply it to your daily life. Send me some emails at cliff.nathaniel@wth.org. Thank you.